Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. A video that's theme is win, people, because that is what's needed. As we look towards what is the last game before the international break, we have a home game versus Dundee United on the back of 3 losses out of 3, 11 goals conceded and 0 goals frickin' scored. It's fair to say that this needs to be a win at all costs, or I can see some changes coming. But before we do go down that route more and speak more from the Rangers side, as always, we will start off these preview videos the way we start off every single preview video, by having a look at tomorrow's dance partner, which is of course Dundee United coming in to this game of football. And at my current time of recording, Dundee United sit bottom. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that there doesn't put a smile on the national, ladies and gentlemen, to hear how badly Dundee United have been doing. But even I couldn't have predicted they would have done that badly under the ASOS Ancelotti, Jack Ross himself, people, because honestly, they got worse and worse. They started off lost and they just ended up clueless at some point, and they only won one game under Jack Ross before his dismissal. Now, of course, that one win was, of course, that fantastic win versus AZ Alkmaar, and it was a tremendous game at home, atmosphere, everything you could have wanted. It was a brilliant day for Dundee United, where former Rangers man Glenn Middleton showed his class and showed what he was all about, scoring the famous goal. But AZ made sure to respond to that game and that result with a thumping, honestly, 7-0 spanking that could have been anything they wanted it to be. And if you want a summary or a quick little line or two about how bad Dundee United have been this season, they got beat 7-0, people, and it wasn't even their worst result of the frickin' season, as they also got beat 9-0, as Celtic once again failed to get the 10. But all joking and all that aside, they were as bad as a team could possibly get. They were well and truly a side that had gave up on their manager, and the manager gave up on a couple key players. They were bombed out the squad. It was the kind of recipe for disaster, so we knew something would have to go, because it wasn't just like a good side like a Celtic or a AZ that was pumping them. They got beat 3-0 at home to St Mirren. They got pumped 4-1 off Hearts. A change had to happen, and Jack Ross was eventually kicked out the door once again for failing at a football club. Is that boy surviving on that phenomenal season at St Mirren? It's scary to actually think about. However, there has been some tweaks and some changes to Dundee United, not only in terms of the management and the gaffer role, but actually on the park. A couple of key players that again was bombed out the squad, and i.e. Tony Watt, for instance, back into the team. And then after the 2 games that they've played since the new manager has come in, they of course got a 2-1 win over Livingston at the Tony Macaroni in the Cup, which was a big win. Not many people were predicting them to win. And in their most recent game, which was over 13 days ago, by the way, was a battling, grinding 0-0 draw with Motherwell, and a game that, yes, they well and truly rode their luck, because well done more than enough to win that game. But again, they showed everything that they didn't have under Jack Ross: grit, determination, and the ability to run and tackle. And imagine that line of run and tackle and everything like that will be something that we'll see a lot from them tomorrow, because no matter how they're playing, whenever Rangers comes to town, they seem to shift up 5, 6, 7 gears and end up looking like an Italian defence every single time that we actually play them. However, again, they got their only 2nd point of the season versus Motherwell, and they're on a bit of a high now after being undefeated under the new manager. Of course, their other game they were supposed to play being postponed last weekend. So they travel to Ibrox now, looking to replicate what they've done versus Motherwell, which is pack their box, defend for their lives, and try to grab something from a game they're not expected to get too much from. And if I'm honest with you, that's all I've really got to say about this Motherwell side, because again, I could talk a lot about Jack Ross's formation and style and that, but that's obsolete now. There's such a small sample size of what they're played under the new thing. They're still lining up in a 5-3-2, kind of 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it on paper, but we all know first whistle goes, it's going to drop like that. They're going to flood out wide. You're going to see a guy like Tony Watt double up as a fullback. We've seen it used many times before, and imagine a long ball will be kicked directly to, like, say, Stephen Fletcher to try and get on the end of, try and knock the ball and use all his experience to win free kicks and get the team up the frickin' park. And that's all I've really got to say, people. I'm expecting them to be hard to break down, feisty in the middle of the park, and of course running their absolute jacksies off. But I would expect nothing less from them. And this, again, despite all the jokes and the funs and everything like that we've had in today's video, a team like this has caused us problems in the past. A team that defends for their lives when we're doing the horseshoe and everything like that and not being as penetrating as we know we can be. So they'll be looking to try and catch a Rangers side that again is winless in the last three, who is scoreless in the last three. So they'll be quietly confident about frustrating the life out of Rangers, and if they can keep that back door shut for the opening 25-30 minutes, that'll be their entire strategy to get the crowd on it, to get the nervous energy amongst the players. So there is still danger to come tomorrow despite all the jokes, but it's danger that we well and truly should be good enough to dominate and conquer, in my freaking opinion. And that there gives me the perfect transition over to the Rangers side, because honestly, where did I even start when we're talking about Rangers Football Club right now in terms of time? I guess the best place is to start with the opening line in today's video, and that is that we need to win this game. Let's not beat around the bush here, and I don't even think it's one of those games, you know, we've said in the past before, we just need to win this game. It doesn't matter if it hits off Morelos and goes into the back of net, we scrape a one, we just need to go to this place, get a result and move away from it, blah blah blah. I've said that in the past, but today I'm going to say something different. I think not only do we need a win, I think we actually need a convincing win, people, just to get something gone now in this team and reconnect us and everything like that, because there's a lot of questions about the management, the players and everything. Do they want to be here? Does he want to be here? Is he interested? Is he sad that he's not? There's a lot of questions going on right now, and normally when you want to go and be successful and achieve things, you all need to be together. So I'm looking at this game not only because of everything we've said, but something that Gio said after we got beat off Ajax, talking about the competing and everything like that with the millions and everything like that, and we aren't able to compete at that level. Well, I think now that he's actually said that, then we should start dominating games in every single aspect in the SPFL then. No, is that the way that it goes, people? With what Giovanni said last week after Ajax, for me, he has to now go and back it up. And when you look at it on paper at home, just before you go into an international break, so you can really take the foot off the gas. There's no midweek game, there's no nothing in the horizon. You've got 2 weeks off, so there's no excuses, and you're against a side again who couldn't kick their own arses for the majority of the season, who sit bottom and have struggled all season long. You couldn't ask for a better and more perfect opportunity to answer that from the gaffer and back it up with a big performance. But whether or not folk agree with my opinion and my thought process on, if you're going to say that, you need to then reflect it into the SPFL. I think the one thing we can all agree with is, of course, it needs to be a win, and the tweaks and changes that we've heard about and we kind of saw and everything that needs to continue. And that leads me to my next talking point regarding the actual squad, because something we never really spoke about in detail in the last recap. I mean, I did, but it was like 30 minutes long, so I had to cut and edit some parts in because nobody wants to sit there for 30 minutes and listen to this guy. But one thing we talked about is we changed from zonal marking to man marking versus Napoli. And think of the game. Did you see one free header for the opposition? No, you didn't. People, so now I want to see it actually implemented in the SPFL. I want to see that respect that we give to the top of the league in Italy, to the teams that's our bread and butter in the SPFL. So I'm hoping to see that continue tomorrow, because again, it was a step in the right direction. I think there's been somebody who's held his hand up and say, right, I'm going to swallow my pride here and let's change it. So they've done the right thing for the club. Maybe took a wee bit longer than probably necessary, but still, we've done it. So I would like to see that tweak continue and see more man-to-man set pieces. That's the dream. Anyway, and speaking of other changes, by the way, everyone who wanted the change in the goalkeeping position got it with a phenomenal performance versus Napoli, by Alan McGregor. And I thought he was absolutely outstanding, the best I've seen McGregor in a long time. And anyone who wanted that change will get it again tomorrow, as McLaughlin is out for a couple of weeks, or probably not now to the end of the international break. So it looks like McGregor will get an opportunity again to exercise some SPFL demons from last season and hopefully put in another good performance in the league. Now, there will be a curious case of what do we do at the back and at the front, as James Sands, of course, got a second yellow card and got that red card. Ben Davies is there. We spent a lot of money on him. Is this the time now? Do we put him in there at a home game versus struggling Dundee United to see what the laddie's got in his locker? We spent the money. How about playing a natural centre-back next to Connor Golton and see if Connor Golton, who I thought was brilliant versus Napoli, can find the consistency once again that he had had when he was consistently playing with the likes of Hollander, because to me, it's no surprise that we saw the best out of Connor Goldson when we had some consistency at the left centre-back role and actually had a defender in it. No a centre mid, no chopping and changing every single week, and this guy's up and down, this guy's up and down. If we find some consistency, which I think Ben Davies has showed throughout his career, it can be, that for me can start to build the platform and build that partnership back up, and that's what we need, again, if we want to be successful. So my change at the back, I would love to see Ben Davies get a freaking game. So that's the back talked about. What about the top now, people? Well, of course, you have the Morelos, who I thought was very good versus Napoli. Again, he's never been a clinical striker. He does need several chances in a game to score, and that's not me taking a dig on that. It's just facts. And on the other hand, we've got Čolak, who probably scores one of those chances that he got if he was in the right position. It's a bit of a paradox and everything like that, people, but that's what we have now at the football club. We have a very clinical finisher who doesn't occupy and attack defenders and create the space and everything like that, and then we've got a striker who isn't clinical but does a lot of the grunt work. But in my opinion, like, is it just me, or should that not be a winger's job to actually start stretching defenders and run at them and pull them away to play? Should that not be a midfielder that's coming forward and creating space? Why are we putting all this pressure on Morelos' shoulder to they free other people's jobs, because we've not got anybody scoring for either wing, we've got nobody running in for the middle of the park? I think we almost asked too much in Morelos, and we're getting him to drop deeper and deeper rather than further forward. So it's one of those ones, people. I think there could be an opportunity to see both of them play at some point. I would love to see it tomorrow, but I don't see Giovanni changing too soon. What I do hope to see is Čolak start this game, because again, what he's done in terms of his chance taken, even when Rangers have been struggling, the goals that he scored has been massive for this football club. So I would like to see that change back in for the SPFL game, just to keep Morelos hungry and all that as well, because I think to when Morelos was at his absolute best, it's when he was interchangeable with Defoe, who was scoring every week. So Morelos had to respond. When Morelos knows he's the only guy for me, we lose a little bit and everything like that. When he's hungry and he's battling and needs to get in there and feels like there's pressure on him and he needs to respond, we see the best of the Buffalo. And when he's like that, people, there's no one anywhere freaking near him. So that's my thoughts and opinions regarding up front. You can shout me, because I know everybody loves Morelos. I love Morelos too, but I think Čolak's done enough to deserve to start this game and continue his fantastic goal scoring form. Or can we start them both and just start dominating and attacking teams? The rest of the team news, of course, remains the exact same as always. Lawrence is back after the international break, and if we play as badly as we have done the last 3 games, I think I'm going to start a petition never to play a game afoot the laddie ever again. Roof is on the same timeline as before. Hollander, Suter and Hadji remain on the long-term injury list. Again, will be a couple months before they are actually back. And honestly, that's it regarding the latest team news. Everyone else is there. Are we finally going to see Ridvan play? I know we're trying to beef him up and get him a bit more physically stronger so he can handle the more physicality, but that probably should have been on the scouting report when you sign someone who's 5'6" and is slight. Maybe should have looked at that aspect of the game before spending the money and then spending months building the laddie up. I don't know about that. Put the laddie in. He's got talent. He's got sun. Let's see the laddie play and all that as well. But to be fair, Barisic has been really good in my opinion the last couple of games, so I can see it either way. And I know this is going to sound ludicrous that I'm going to predict us to win 3-0 versus Dundee United, and that's a crazy scoreline. But given how we're playing lately, it kind of is. Rangers 3, Dundee United 0. I want to see a dominating, attacking, convincing win, and I want to see Čolak back amongst the goals, and that's what I've got to say. What about you? Let me know down where Dundee United are, and as always, we will see you tomorrow after the game before we head in to the international break. So last one, what's your thoughts and opinions? Any changes you want to see? Again, it'd be great to see how you're feeling, and as always, I've been CJ number 92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.